Hi guys, this is Jess with Whispers of Grace Healing. I am here today to do another intuitive guidance piece. I'm going to wait for a few minutes for people to join in. But tonight's discussion is going to be about how our energy levels and our belief systems affect our abundance. And I feel like this is going to be a really great topic. Really takes us back to the basics of things and helps us understand why we are where we are and how to move forward, how to challenge those belief systems and those thoughts so that we can attract more into our lives that helps us serve our purpose in this world, also helps us develop more meaningful connections and everything else that comes with abundance. And abundance can mean a lot of different things, but we'll get into that in a minute. So welcome everyone. Thank y'all for being here. If you're new, welcome to the fam. Please let us know who you are, where you're from, and if you're one of my subscribers, Love Vibe Tribe, Graceful Healing members, you know I love y'all so much, and thank you for all of your support. If you would like to help support the channel and donate to the cause, the PayPal link is down below. After our discussion, then we will have open floor for some questions if y'all have any, or if you need any help with whatever you may be struggling to manifest at this time. So I'm just going to share this to Facebook real quick. Hey, Cynthia, how are you doing, my love? All right. Got that shared. Hi, Michelle. Yes, tribe's coming in. So make sure that y'all like and share this out. If you know anyone that would be interested in joining this discussion, please let them know we're going live. Hey, Brooke, what up? What up? Started going to the chiropractor and getting weird symptoms. You know, I'll tell you that, especially with a chiropractor, like releasing all the tension from your body is probably opening up a lot between your physical and emotional body. So just pay attention to what's coming up for you. If there's certain spots that may be like holding on to tension that's having a hard time being released, there could be an emotional body attachment there that's causing resistance. And it's actually quite wild how our physical bodies will hold on to not just, memories and trauma and beliefs within our physical from this life, but also from past. The cellular memory is so wild once you start digging into all of it. It's crazy. Hi, Catherine. Welcome, welcome. So glad to have you here with us. Don't be shy. Everyone in the chat is amazing. So let's see. Michelle Lou has been going to chiropractor too. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, and once you get that, because listen, I was there too. I used to go to the chiropractor a lot. Hey, Maria. But actually, now that you bring it up, I was going through a lot of, like, after going to the chiropractor for a while, because my body was a mess too. A lot of my abilities started waking up shortly after, all the resistance was cracked out of me. But yeah, I noticed that, especially when, the weight of what gets carried in this world starts building up in my body, yoga is a great way for me to release it, and it's a lifesaver. The thing with the chiropractor, though, that I didn't do was, um, I wasn't necessarily exercising or strengthening my muscles. So even though I was getting everything adjusted, it, like, I kept slipping back into my old, patterns and my ways. So, I kept needing the chiropractor. It wasn't until I started doing yoga that I wasn't needing as much assistance with that. Yeah. Exactly, because it all goes hand in hand. But hey, Gina. Yes. Hi, guys. Okay, so we have a few people in here. Yeah, I know. All right, so today we are going to be discussing how our energy levels can affect our abundance, as well as, hey, Kate, um, as well as our belief systems. So, the thing with this, and I really want to kind of break it down into some exercises, because I want y'all to really pay attention to how this feels. We talked about it last week where, our beliefs fund our values, and our thoughts become our words, and our words become actions, and our it's a one big chain reaction. Okay. And most of us have been through some really hard stuff in life, things that have really challenged us. And we have also adopted a lot of belief systems out of that fear. So, hey, Rochelle. Carlton, yes, look, I love it, man. Just y'all flooding in. I love it. Thank y'all so much for being here. Um, so, when we really think about what our beliefs are, sometimes it can be really hard for us to break it down and to really see where those belief systems stem from, where, how it's really affecting our lives. So, here goes my throat. All right. So, with that being said, this is one of the crucial moments where so many of us are wanting some sort of relief. We want to see the rewards for our hard work and our self-reflection and the things that we've been working on, right? And sometimes we get a little angry when things do not go our way. Now, one of the main things that we have to remember is the universe responds to the frequency we are putting out. And every thought, every word, every belief, like, everything has its own frequency. And that's really where I want to start tonight. Every emotion, every thought, every belief holds a certain frequency. Have you ever been in a time in your life where you just felt so good, like so in tune with yourself and in tune with life, and just going about your merry way, and things just happen to fall right in place for you. Miracles fall into your lap. Things you didn't even know that you wanted or needed just seem to pop up, right? That is the universe responding to the love that you have for yourself and for life. Okay? Now, think about when you're angry, when you're feeling resentful. Does not everything just seem to go to crap around you? Where you have more things mirroring back that resentment and that anger. And think about sadness, right? Which is a totally different frequency than anger or joy. But sadness is something that we've all lived a good part of our life having to either cope with or to try to navigate. Loss is real, and sadness, definitely all these emotions play a very big part in our life, right? Sometimes anger and sadness can force us to get out of the ditch that we've dug for ourselves and to promote change, right? You lose a loved one and your heart hurts so bad, but it makes you feel more aware of putting forth the effort towards the people you still have here in the physical life, right? So, like, when we think about the emotions that we have towards a generalized view of life, and it's always going to change, right? Each phase we go through sometimes, and it depends on the day even. Sometimes we wake up and just like, yes, this day is going to be great, and you get things done. And then some days you wake up feeling drained, and sometimes you just need a rest. But if we sit in it too long, then it starts the snowball effect. It starts to manifest in other areas of our life, right? So just take inventory of how the basic emotions feel for you, right? And this will also be a good gauge of what you may still be harboring towards past experiences, places, or people, okay? If you can say, your friend comes by and says, hey, I ran into your ex the other day and they seem to be doing great. They have their own business. They had their first kid. And your immediate reaction is, ugh, but I'm not there, right? There's anger, there's resentment, and why can't that be me? If that feeling is still coming over you, you're harboring resentment towards something that isn't even existing in your life anymore, right? So that then will manifest in your personal relationships, not just your romantic, because then you end up having mistrust towards anyone that comes in and tries to bless you with love. You question their intent. You question their stability to be there for you, right? Like, so many of us don't believe that people can actually show up consistently for us because we're used to always being the one that's in the giver doer mode. So many of us don't even understand that we have this limited belief that if it's not for us to keep the relationship alive, then it will die. And you refuse the ability for someone to really show up for you the way that you want them to. and therefore leads to resentment because you're not getting the reciprocity that you deserve out of all of your personal relationships. How many of us have been told at some point in our life that you can't do this? Say your family member owned their own business and it was a flop because they didn't have the tools or resources to make it a successful business. So then therefore, when you got to the age of wanting to branch out and start your own business, the first thing they come with is, oh, it's a bad thing. You're better off working for someone else. And it plants the seed of fear and doubt in you that you give up on your dreams, and you feel like it is not capable, that you're not capable of making your own business succeed, right? All these things get planted by thought, by belief, by word. And it is up to us if we accept those seeds as a truth or not, right? So goodness gracious, y'all. So one of the things that we have to understand, that no matter what we are trying to manifest in our life, and abundance does come in many different forms. In a spiritual context, this tends to pull away more from physical things, but again, balance. In order to thrive in this life, there are physical resources that you need to make the most out of life, right? And the more that we have to be in service, the more fulfilled we feel in life, whatever that may look like. So it's not to say that asking for love, for joy, for companionship, for, releasing yourself from debt, or whatever the case may be, prayer alone is not enough. Okay? And if you have a hard time receiving from people in your life that love and care for you, do you really think that you're fully receiving from the universe? Like, really think about it. And is your need for control and your expectations of what this abundance looks like really deterring the opportunities that are being presented to you? Because it's not what you expect to see, therefore you would receive, right? So they want you to challenge the fact that needing help, whether that is gaining financial assistance, having someone to be a safe place for you to vent about your stuff, whatever it may be, right? Whatever we are trying to manifest, we must be of that vibration in order for it to manifest fully in our lives, okay? And once we are aware of how our frequency is a magnet, right, for anything happening around us, within us, and through us, every bit of intent that you are going through with your daily experience is manifesting into your life. It is a domino effect. Down the line, you are affecting timelines that haven't even happened yet. We can change it at any given time by our thoughts, by our beliefs, and by our frequency. I truly feel that when it comes to talking about an abundant life, it is one that leaves negative feelings of lack, dissatisfaction, and emptiness behind. I also do believe that this has to happen in layers. If we just wake up one morning and say, I am done with dissatisfaction and I am done with feelings of lack, you were spiritually bypassing. You were spiritually bypassing your human experience. And it's also not truly honoring your physical body, your emotional body, and your soul. Because your physical body is harboring the frequency of your emotional body, and your emotional body is harboring the frequency of your soul. It is one big chain reaction, y'all. So once we peel back these layers of these belief systems that says, I don't know, I doubt, I fear, I question. The universe is just responding accordingly to the beliefs and the frequency that we're transmitting. Okay. And sometimes that's hard pill to swallow, but it's all what we do with the emotion, right? So I think it's really, really important for us to have the awareness to know what we are projecting and what we're admitting, right? But to show compassion towards those outdated beliefs so that you can properly clear them out, okay? And that's where giving space for yourself. We've been talking about self-care for a while. This is a part of it. This is giving yourself the space to feel angry, to feel sad, to feel that loss of the outdated belief systems that it's like this, and we're going to get to it, the scarring, the emotional scarring that we have put over our wounds that protected us at the time, but is no longer necessary because we're transcending the outdated timeline. So now is the time to be really honest with yourself. Take accountability. Forgive yourself and replace the outdated belief system with a new one. And I think this is also where people get caught up because, again, words are so powerful and so important, right? If you're trying to manifest and you want something to be taken out of your life, don't focus so much on the other thing that you don't have control over. Don't be afraid to ask for what you need. If you need guidance, if you need clarity, if you need an opportunity to get yourself out of something that you feel you shouldn't be in anymore, then ask for the tools and resources that you need to make the right decision for your life. Okay? And I'll tell you, as we evolve and as we change, the things that you ask for are going to change too. And understand, like, sometimes, and I swear, y'all, sometimes we be asking for things that we swear we want, swear we need, and then get angry at the universe and question God for why it's not bringing it to us. Maybe it wasn't meant for you, or maybe you are also blocking it. That was one thing even Brooke called me out on a long time ago. She said, you're being patient and you're, doing all these things. You want this to happen, but you believe that it won't. Right? And she did. She had to call me out on it because it was the truth. Because I still had worthiness issues. I was still allowing someone else's behavior to make me question my value. They're reacting off their own pain. I don't have to. So the universe has miraculous ways of sending you what you need, but our need for control and expectations can make us question it and or deny the blessings being given. To deny one's gift, like really think about it. Because if most of us are givers, right, we like to do for our partner. It's almost like the need to shower someone with love, especially if we know that they have not received it before, right? Like, if you know someone's got a good heart and they've been dogged on most of their life, you just want to love on that person, right? And it makes you feel good. It makes you feel warm inside to give to someone else, right? Even if that's love, if that's financial support, whatever that looks like, even if it's just a warm, safe place. Imagine what it feels like denying someone else that capability to give to you, right? You are taking their role away from them. And then it usually ends up leading to resentment because why are you not doing these things for me? Because the control has been all over. And there's the flow is being resisted, right? And this comes into other belief systems, which we'll get to as well. I think it's really important that even in your personal relationships, whether it is your personal relationship with self, whether it is your personal relationship with source, or your personal relationship with other people in your life, it is important that the way that you speak about your life and your relationship, that you ask for what you need. The more that we suppress what we need and what we are trying to communicate, the more of a hindrance it is on the unfolding and the evolution of things going on in our life. And it's not a time to be mean about it, and like, because a lot of people get caught up in the details and tend to focus on what they do not want. We want to affirm that it is what we need, what we want is already here. And then you have the tools and the resources to make it complete. Again, prayer is not enough. The opportunities will align themselves, but it is up to you to take it. It is up to you and due diligence to put forth the effort of creating a high vibrational life. Okay? Yes, Brooke. I feel you on that one. So one of the things that they brought me to is this where we want to start? Yes. So they took me to when soulmates unite. Yeah, 116. So Christina talks about her ability to receive. She says, Mark was the first giver I have ever dated, and although he didn't really give from the right place much of the time, he was a giver. And one of the things his giving nature taught me was that I had no clue how to ask for help or how to receive. None. No one in my life had ever been a giver, and those who gave never gave from the right place. I never realized that a good partner was more than just someone who could give to the partnership. It's also someone who can receive the gifts their partner has to give them. I had no clue how to ask for help. I had no clue how to receive. I didn't even know that these two things were necessary to having a strong, mutually fulfilling partnership. I was so used to doing everything for everyone and doing everything alone. I thought that was partnering. Again, the belief, right? Oi. But in reality, my inability to ask for help and receive help translated to Mark as I don't need you, I don't want you, I don't trust you. That's how her partner took it, as not being able to allow him to give to her. Now, yes, much in the translation had to do with his internal chatter, his lack of self-esteem, and lack of self-love. But if I'm really being honest, here's what I was saying. I don't need your support. I don't want your gifts. I don't trust your process, your style, your way, or your demonstration of love. You see, we have the inability to receive. It's usually born of a need to control, and a need to control is born of fear. My fear was the fear of being a burden. I had been taught early in life that having needs was a burden, burdensome for the people who loved me. My needs made others angry and took from them. So I stopped needing people's support. I stopped wanting others to share their gifts with me. I stopped trusting the love of others. And here I was. I learned to love myself, but I hadn't learned to trust the love of others and still love and stay connected to myself. So this speaks hugely on how much it can affect other people in our life. And so much of wanting to be a good person or a good friend, like, how many times have you been struggling financially and doing favors for people? And even if they're struggling, they say, hey, here's a couple extra dollars, here's a big tip, or whatever the case may be. And you're like, no, it's okay, right? You're telling the universe and blocking blessings, saying, I don't need this, right? It doesn't matter how the blessings come, just be open to it. And have enough discernment and trust yourself to know if it's a good opportunity or not. Doesn't mean you have to take everything that comes to you, but it's enough trust in yourself that you can receive from other people, places, and things that want to bless you, right? So then that takes us to the 4 agreements. Okay. So this is the Toltec path to freedom, the discipline of the warrior, controlling your own behavior. Imagine that you awake early one morning, overflowing with enthusiasm for the day. You feel good, you are happy, and have plenty of energy to face the day. Then at breakfast, you have a big fight with your spouse, and a flood of emotions come out. You get mad, and in the emotion of anger, you spend a lot of personal power. After the fight, you feel drained, and you just want to go and cry. In fact, you feel so tired that you go to your room, collapse, and try to recover. You spend the day wrapped up in your emotions. You have no energy to keep going, and you just want to walk away from everything. Every day we awake with a certain amount of mental, emotional, and physical energy that we spend throughout the day. If we allow our emotions to deplete our energy, we have no energy to change our lives or to give to others. The way you see the world will depend upon the emotions you are feeling. When you are angry, everything around you is wrong. Nothing is right. You blame everything, including the weather. Whether it's raining or the sun is shining, nothing pleases you. When you are sad, everything around you is sad and makes you cry. You see the trees and you feel sad. You see the rain and everything looks so sad. Perhaps you feel vulnerable and have a need to protect yourself because you do not know in the moment if someone will attack you. You do not trust anything or anyone around you. This is because you see the world with the eyes of fear. Imagine that the human mind is the same as your skin. You can touch healthy skin and it feels wonderful. Your skin is made for perception and the sensation of touch is wonderful. Now imagine you have an injury and the skin gets cut and infected. If you touch the infected skin, it is going to hurt. So you try to cover and protect it. You will not enjoy being touched because it hurts. Now imagine that all humans have this skin disease. Nobody can touch each other because it's going to hurt. Everyone has wounds on their skin, so the infection is seen as normal. The pain is also considered normal. We believe we are supposed to be that way. Can you imagine how we would behave with each other if all the humans in the world had this skin disease? Of course, we would hardly ever hug each other because it would be too painful. So we would need to create a lot of distance between us. The human mind is exactly like this description of infected skin. Every human has an emotional body completely covered with infected wounds. Each wound is infected with emotional poison, the poison of all the emotions that make us suffer, such as hate, anger, envy, and sadness. An action of injustice opens a wound in the mind, and we react with emotional poison because of the concepts and beliefs we have about injustice and what is fair. The mind is so wounded and full of poison by the process of domestication that everyone describes the wounded mind as normal. This is considered normal, but I can tell you it is not normal. We have a dysfunctional dream of the planet, and humans are mentally sick with a disease called fear. The symptoms of disease are all the emotions that make humans suffer: anger, hate, sadness, envy, and betrayal. When the fear is too great, the reasoning mind begins to fail, and we call this mental illness. Psychotic behavior occurs when the mind is so frightened and the wound so painful that it seems better to break contract with the outside world. If we can see our state of mind as a disease, we find there is a cure. We don't have to suffer any longer. First, we need the truth to open the emotional wounds, take the poison out, and heal the wounds completely. How do we do this? We must forgive those who we feel have wronged us, not because they deserve to be forgiven, but because we love ourselves so much we don't want to keep paying for the injustice. Forgiveness is the only way to heal. We can choose to forgive, but we can feel compassion for ourselves. We can let go of the resentment and declare, that's enough. I will no longer be the big judge that goes against myself. I will no longer beat myself up and abuse myself, and I will no longer be the victim. First, we need to forgive our parents, our brothers, our sisters, our friends, and God. Once you forgive God, you can finally forgive yourself. Once you forgive yourself, the self-rejection in your mind is over. Self-acceptance begins, and the self-love will grow so strong that you will finally accept yourself just the way you are. That's the beginning of the free human. Forgiveness is the key. You will know you have forgiven someone when you see them and you no longer have an emotional reaction. You will hear the name of a person and you will hear the name of the emotion of the person and you will have no emotional reaction. When someone can touch what used to be a wound and it no longer hurts you, then you will know it has truly been forgiven. The truth is like a scalpel. The truth is painful because it opens all of the wounds which are covered by lies so that we can be healed. These lies are what we call the denial system. It is a good thing we have the denial system because it allows us to cover our wounds and still function. But once we no longer have any wounds or any poison, we don't need to lie anymore. We don't need the denial system because a healthy mind, like healthy skin, can be touched without hurting. It's pleasurable for the mind to be touched when it is clean. The problem with most people is that they lose control of their emotions. It is the emotions that control the behavior of the human, not the human who controls the emotions. When we lose control, we say things that we don't want to say and do things we don't want to do. That is why it is so important to be impeccable with our word and to become a spiritual warrior. We must learn to control the emotions so that we have enough personal power to change our fear-based agreements, escape from hell, and create our own personal heaven. How are we to become a warrior? There are certain characteristics of the warrior that are nearly the same around the world. The warrior has awareness, and that's very important. We are aware that we are at war, and the war in our mind requires discipline. Not the discipline of a soldier, but the discipline of a warrior. Not the discipline from the outside to tell us what to do or what not to do, but the discipline to be ourselves no matter what. The warrior has control. Not control over another human, but control over one's emotions, control over oneself. It is when we lose control that we repress the emotions, not when we are in control. The big difference between a warrior and a victim is that the victim represses and the warrior refrains. Victim repress because they are afraid to show the emotions, afraid to say what they want to say. To refrain is not the same thing as repression. To refrain is to hold the emotions and to express them in the right moment, not before, not later. That is why warriors are impeccable. They have complete control over their own emotions and therefore their own behavior. So, this is opening up a whole new portal once we understand what it all boils down to. And once we start to forgive those little pieces of ourselves that are still holding on to anger, resentment, fear, envy, jealousy, right? That are still holding on to the victim timeline, storyline. Once we can forgive all of that, right? When we can really say like, okay, listen, I take accountability because I know better. I want to do better. I want to be better. I want to live and thrive in life. And that's removing the outdated belief systems, right? To say, hell yeah, I'm fucking worthy of living my most authentic life. That I can be everything that I am in the best possible way because I deserve to be seen, to be heard, to be felt, to be experienced in all of my glory. And just like really forgive yourself because you didn't know better. But once we get to a certain point in our life, we have to take power back and quit living through the lens of everyone else's fear. It's your choice to choose. And you can choose peace or chaos. And when we break it down to that simple, yes, you can actually ask yourself in every moment, does this support peace or chaos? Does this thought support peace or chaos? Does this action support peace or chaos? And be more impeccable with your word when it comes to how you view yourself, how you view your life, how you view the miracles happening in and around you. And allow yourself to find the freedom that you are so desperately close to. So that is what I have for y'all today. And also knowing when to recharge your batteries. Like, that's another big thing. When you get to that point of like understanding you're living for everyone else and, you know, through everyone else, because in reality, our belief systems come from those who taught us, right? So you are living through your ancestors, through your family line, and all of their belief systems and all the projections and the pain that other people have put on you and the things that people have tried to convince you that you ended up believing yourself. It is time to say enough. I claim my sovereignty. I claim my divinity. I am a powerful fucking being that is capable of whatever I put my mind to. And whatever I put my mind to, I have the action and the determination to make my dreams come true. Okay? Yes. Yeah. And you're right, Annie. And it is easy to slip back, but that's where the awareness comes in, y'all. Because it doesn't mean that like it's just all of a sudden fixed. These layers, remember we talked about this in the beginning, there are many, many, many layers to your fear. And each layer that gets revealed to you, it's important again to gently unpack that box, right? And to say, and okay, I understand. I feel it, because you can tell when your vibration is slipping, right? When you're falling back into your old patterns and your old beliefs, and you're starting to feel that disconnection from self, that is when you need to gently unpack that box. Give your space, give yourself the space that you need to unpack it, right? And choose to align with a higher vibrational. Go do something to get outside of yourself. Do something for someone else. Do something for you. Like, that's where your intuition is going to guide you. What does my soul need right now? Right? It doesn't mean that it just stops. And that's what I was talking about, the spiritual bypass. It doesn't happen like that. And I feel like that's unrealistic expectations that spiritual community has placed upon us, or even we have accepted ourselves, because if we're doing all this work, we should just be miraculously healed. No, we are unlearning ages, lifetimes of bullshit. And hear us warriors come through like, oh, yes, y'all need some light beam. You know what I'm saying? And so for us to come in and to be like, you know what, the karmic cycle ends with me, I think we need to give ourselves a little more credit. So, and a lot of people aren't even aware that this is what they're doing, but they're just wondering why all this stuff is being loaded down on them. Because you know what? Listen, any knight, any warrior that shows up to your castle with a clean ass armor ain't one that's been in battle. That's not the person you want protecting you. Am I right or am I wrong? Right? If you're going to have someone that you can count on that knows you got the tenacity, the resiliency, the drive, the hunger to survive, that shit is going to be dented, it is going to be rusty, it is going to be muddy, and it is going to be everything that it is meant to be because it is telling your story. It shows. Be proud of your battle scars. Be proud of what you've been through because you have survived all of this, and keep coming back. Keep coming back for more, right? And say, you know what? I think I'll go one more round. Yeah, like, it blows my mind sometimes. So either way, I can get off on a rant on that. But again, it is not about spiritual bypassing. We are simply bringing awareness to say that these are the emotional cords that affect our abundance flow. And as you reveal those layers, it's really important that you be gentle with yourself, show compassion for yourself, and for those that you feel have wronged you, right? And allow that poison to be healed. And each layer that gets pulled back is just another part of the process. Like, oh, codependency, I see you. Oh, jealousy and envy, I see you too. Like, what is it? What do I need? What am I not giving myself? What am I not recognizing within myself? What am I forgetting to feed myself today? Right? Because listen, no matter what, all these things are going to come and go out of your life, but you are stuck with you, boo-boo. You cannot escape yourself. This is the conduit for everything happening in your life. So make sure that you are cleansing yourself. Make sure that you're taking care of all the bits of you. And be gentle with the pieces, right? We are a mosaic, baby. And each piece, each reflection, each color is giving life to the bigger picture. Okay? So, yes. Oh, goodness. Yes, yes, it is, Gina. Yeah, self-care is so important, Michelle. Like, and that's the thing too. Like, it can look, again, what do you need? Sometimes it's just taking a step back and getting creative, or, going and doing something for yourself, like whatever that may be. Whether that is taking a nap and vegging out on Netflix, if that's, writing in your journal, or, spending time with a loved one, or, just whatever brings your heart peace and joy, do that. You know what I'm saying? Does not matter. But, I think we all have a general instinct of what is fun for us, what makes us feel good, what, we can thrive on, what gets us motivated, what inspires us. That's what we need to be doing. And sometimes we just need to sit and go through our baggage. Sometimes we got to pull out all the dirty laundry, right? Be like, oh, that's why I'm doing that. And if you don't know why, like, listen, if there's karmic themes coming up in your life and you're seeing the patterns repeat, and you don't know how to go through this process of listening to yourself and your emotions, that is why there are mediums like me, like Danny, like Brooke, that help people go through this process and guide you through it, support you through it, love you through it. And we do it with an open heart because we know what this process is like. We've had to do it on our own. It didn't become till later in our process that we started actually reaching out and gaining resources from other healers, because we weren't even aware that there was this many people out here. We thought we were alone, right? And then all of a sudden we open our hearts to say, you know what, I'm ready to heal. I'm ready to grow. I'm ready to learn. And all these mentors, all these leaders, all these way showers, all these light beings just showed up and said, I got you, right? And that's the role we're playing. We learn so we can give. We go through the process so we can show you how to do it, right? We support ourselves so we can support you. And that's how it happens. And it just opens up all these beautiful connections that I would have never even known were out here if I hadn't have been true to myself. You know how many people have tried to call me crazy or tell me I was fucking Looney Tune for the shit that I do? You know what I'm saying? Like, I had to believe in myself so hard, it didn't matter what anyone else thought of me. It doesn't matter because I know who I am. I'm proud of who I am. I love me. Ooh, like for the first time in my life, y'all, I was just having this conversation today where the beliefs I used to have in myself, where I legit believed all the things that people said about me, thought about me. And I was just like, man, if everyone thinks this about me, I must be a piece of shit. And I started believing them, no matter how good I was. Because it didn't matter how much I did for everyone else. There was a lot of users and abusers in my life because I was severely codependent and didn't have enough self-respect to say, I respect myself more. And now I understand how good of a person I am. I understand how beautiful this heart is, how beautiful this body is. How my perception, my belief, and my energy can make me see a whole lot of things. Even when it's looking straight in the shadow's face and saying, ooh, I see you, wounded one. You can't fool me. Let me love on that inner child. You know what I'm saying? Let me give you some space to cry it out. You get it out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do not have to have an emotional reaction anymore. Sometimes I slip up, catch myself though, and that's where awareness comes in. You got to be aware of yourself. Once you start feeling those emotions coming up, and listen, you know you were not going to be saying anything nice when you were having an emotional reaction because you are wounded, right? And that's why we read from the Four Agreements, the warrior refrains, does not repress. You wait until the moment is right for your energy to be right, for the energy of the experience to be on a neutral playing field so that you can heal the situation and not dictate the situation. There's a difference. So, but yeah. So does anyone have any questions? Oh, goodness. I'm so glad y'all are enjoying this. Seems like we got a lot of good comments. Let's go back and see what everyone's been talking about. Oh, hey, Kara. I didn't know you were in here. Oh, we love you. Whatever's going on, you know we got your back. Hi, Ella. Oh, Arthur's in the house. Thank y'all so much for all of your support. Yeah, and Catherine, I'll say, too, like, everyone's going through it. Um, you know, this is a big, like, wave of bringing things to the surface, right? And again, it's just the layers, man. And that's why the surrender process is so important to this, because the more that we try to control, and then we're like, oh man, I thought I was over this, then we start judging to, why didn't you heal this, right? So be careful of that process. But there's sometimes these things are so deep rooted that, like, I've been saying this from the very beginning, even if it was just one lesson. So say whatever your trigger is right now, right? Think about how many different versions and layers of that one trigger you've already healed, right? So how many processes have you had to go through in order to keep peeling back this layer, this layer, this layer? Now imagine if they were just assholes and said, you know what, you got this, and dump all of it on you at once. That's just one trigger. Now imagine all the lifetimes of karmic patterns that you were trying to break. If they dumped all of it on us at once, we wouldn't make it. Like, we would be in a mental institution. There's no way that our physical mind and brain is going to be able to handle all of that information, all of that processing, and all of that release at once, and still be able to function in a normal society, right? So I think it's their more gentle process, but a lot of us are so scared to get uncomfortable, which understandable, because it sucks being uncomfortable, but embrace the suck, as Brooke would say. I've been saying that a lot lately. But it's one of those things where it is more of the gentle process when they allow you to reveal in pieces instead of just ripping the band-aid off, right? Yeah, it is. It's initiation after initiation, and it's ascension after ascension. With each layer, you get stronger, you get clearer, you get more powerful, you're more in alignment. And I can't believe how much it's all changed for me in just a short amount of time. Like, it feels like it was just yesterday, but um, I guess I've been on this for 4 years, like, diligent doing work. And now it's just and that's the thing too. Um, some of us who are more on a fast track ascension, we want to know, we dig, right? We've like, nah, we're not, we're not doing this anymore. So we end up, like, going so deep within that, you know, some of these processes can be stretched out over lifetimes, and the student role gets so absorbed that it's really all we do for, like, a long period of time, but it shortens it, right? Instead of, this long drawn out lesson, we're like, no, let's knock it out because we have work to do, right? Um, but it does come to a certain point where the digging doesn't feel necessarily like a must do. It's more of just a happening where, you go through life, you're living, and then whatever lesson comes up, it's like, okay, now I know the tools that I need in order to process this. And we dive right back into it. It's not that we're not digging, it's just we're allowing our life to unfold the way it needs to unfold, and when we need to dig, we do. Um yeah. Mhm. Yeah. You will be the baddest bitch in town, Kara. Uh yeah. Right. Yeah. And that's the thing too, because that's a control factor. Like, um, needing to know it all. And I like what you said, relaxing into the uncertainty. There are no guarantees, guys. Nothing in this life is guaranteed. Um, and I think it's really important that we learn to, uh, like, live life, right? And understand that where we are in our lives and in our journey is exactly where we need to be. And, that might be why, you're going through this, because now you're getting to that phase where you're supposed to just live. And as it comes up, it will come up. But now it's time to like use the benefit of all the work that you've done and start living, like really living and enjoying life, because we can get so caught up in this spiritual evolution that we forget to truly be here. And then we end up having resentments towards the 3D reality because we know what it feels like up there. You know what I'm saying? So be aware of that. Um, Use what you have and learned, you know, there's something that hasn't quite you know phased out of the last cycle, Brooke. And so now you're just going through this transition period, and they want you to experience, they want you to live. And then the next phase is going to come, and then therefore you'll have more tools to help other people. But, there's a completion happening for you. I feel it. But it just feels like it's kind of trickling out. And I'll tell you, I've been feeling that. It was like a 2-month period late last year. November, December were kind of those months for me. And then all of a sudden it was like reroute and clear as day. So just be aware of that. Yeah. And Michelle, like, you know, it, oh, that just triggered a memory. So Michelle says, I don't think we are supposed to know, but our inner child wants the security of knowing. All I'm hearing is, how when children get like in that really young age where it's why about everything, we have all the questions, right? And most of us, I mean, I'll speak for myself. Like, I had all the questions, and I was always told, like, brushed off or whatever the case may be, and exertion, like, oh, God, more questions. But I did. I wanted to understand things. I wanted to know things. And it's the whys. And yeah, exactly. So the fact that we didn't necessarily get the And this could be one of the frustrations that we're feeling too, is wanting to know because we want that security of having the information, but also having the belief system that even if we ask, are we really going to be answered? Right. And so, as and like lean into that a little bit. Is there a little bit of fear or anger around that? Like, if I ask a question, am I really gonna, like, do you feel like it's a burden to ask questions? You know? And if you don't get the answer, are you really meant to know? Because they'll give it to you, bro. And that's kind of where it's about trusting the process. If you're asking the questions and you're not getting the answer, then you're probably not meant to at this time. So just redirect it instead of getting frustrated that you're not getting the answer. Maybe there's something else that they want you to be asking, right? So just think about it like that. Michelle also says, we've all had our trauma, so it is a part of us to dig and know every possible outcome to feel secure, but that doesn't allow for true surrender. Amen. Amen. Yeah. And Catherine, and that's like, because that's, you trying to protect yourself, right? So Catherine says, loving without certainty of being loved is huge for me. So I build those walls. And again, that goes to the I don't trust you to love me. Right. So that's putting up a whole big red flag because you're not trusting intentions. You're not trusting that someone's going to be able to show up for you and that you're going to put into something that could eventually fail on you, right? So that tells me that you have abandonment issues or rejection issues, right? So you build the wall to keep them out, but you want love, right? So you can see how that's a contradicting energy. Um, so really, once we love and start to trust ourselves, like it comes with awareness, it comes with discernment, right? Like there's a lot that comes into this stuff, but it is awareness, it is discernment, and it is self-respect that helps you be able to navigate in the dating scene. Okay? To say your view of me does not affect the value of me, right? Because the value of you starts with you. So, um, once you learn to trust yourself more, you will trust in the people that you are attracting. With discernment, you will be able to be honest with yourself if this person is a good fit for you, right? Therefore, you won't waste time on people, or shouldn't say waste. You will not continue to invest time in someone who is not showing you the love that you deserve, right? So but yeah, if we have the walls, how are we going to accept, right? And we're telling the world, I don't trust you. So it would be really wise to kind of lean in and dig a little bit to what those walls are protecting you from. Why are those walls there in the first place? Where does it really stem from? Um, yeah, good. But that's where it starts, and then over time you just kind of start breaking it down. But yeah, it takes awareness of yourself. And again, what it is that you want. What it is that you want, match that frequency, create the frequency. Like when you think about, okay, because again, the thought is a powerful tool. So when you think about what it is that you want to attract in your personal relationships, right? Like get rid of all the pain, clear slate. Don't think about what has happened in the past and what you don't want to happen again. This is about if you could have it's purely emotion, right? Doesn't matter about the details. If you had someone that showed up for you in every way, that matched your energy in such a perfect tune that you were free to be and express and to do and to flow in whatever way you needed to, that was authentic to you. What does that feel like? Right? Lean into that. And don't allow all the details of the mistrust and the fear to over navigate that. Right? So then when you raise your frequency to that feeling of what it feels like to be so completely loved, you said it. You feel safe. This is what we must create for ourselves to raise our frequency to what we are trying to attract. So therefore we can go higher together. Right? And it is it is one of those things that take diligent practice and constant checking of yourself, especially when you've had a poor self-image or low self-esteem, all of those things, and abusive relationships. Like there's a lot of emotional poison, right? And so the more that we can clear it out, the more that we can heal, the more that we can forgive in each layer. Like, and I think this is the one thing that we have to understand. Like, the process does not stop, y'all. So, like, if we get rid of the expectation that, oh, if we keep doing this work, then it's just miraculously going to be this wonderful, brilliant, never have an issue again fantasy, right? If we are on this physical plane, we are going to be challenged. But it does not, it's like the courage story that I got from Spirit, you know? And courage doesn't mean that there is an absence of fear. It is the movement forward regardless of the fear, right? So it gets to that point where we have to understand that when it comes to spiritual awareness and spiritual transcendence, it doesn't mean that all of this, just miraculously gets better. We have the tools and the resources to better cope and handle this craziness, right? So our emotional responses get better. Our outlook gets better. Our peace becomes different because we're not so attached to the craziness in this world, but more in tune with the love that resides within our own personal being. Therefore reflects out into our environment, right? So yeah, yes, you just feel more. And that's the thing, like it's right. And and there is, and listen, love is one big risk, man. When the heart says leap, like we are meant to express. But yeah, man, I love is bold. It is wild. It is something that can be used in many different ways. And I think if we knew again, and this is all about perception, anyone can use love as a sword or a healing tonic, right? And this is the most crucial understanding that we should have, is that if we allow fear and not have enough discernment to set proper boundaries for ourselves, and to do all the things that we've been learning, right? If we allow fear to control our lives in the way that because no matter what, guys, we are meant to experience this life with other people. We are meant to have connections. We are meant to experience the grace of the human soul and how love can transcend all of it. You can turn someone's life around with love. Yeah. So, Catherine, that's a lot, man. So there's probably a lot of beliefs, and there's probably a whole bunch of triggers there. And there's probably going to be a lot of layers to it. But I'm glad that you're here so that you can get the support you need. Because listen, tribe is ish, fire, like good people. And, when you've been through that kind of abuse, a good thing you're single. Good thing. Because listen, being single for 3 years was the best thing I ever did for myself. I can tell you that. I had to get comfortable with myself again. If I ever was. The more that I dissect the pieces of me, the more I realize like how much I've really been doing things out of fear, out of obligation, out of need for being wanted. Like, it's a lot. It's a lot. And I think we just need to respect the process. It's okay. Yes. You're right. You're right, Brooke. Yeah. Brooke's dropping some truth bombs. Yeah. Love is unconditioned. It does not identify with positive or negative. It is the existence of all that is. We are the ones that label love as good, bad, right, or wrong. But what if love treated us that way? What if love labeled us as bad and wrong? Ooh, and that's a hard pill to swallow, y'all. Like, it is. And that shows you like how perception can really change. Um, but it can be used, again, all belief systems. And some people only know a certain way to love, and it can either be a sword or it can be a healing tonic. It all depends on how that pain and that resistance to what love truly encompasses, Because if someone's been taught that love is a controlling factor, that if you love me, you have to lose everything about you in order to pacify me. That's not, yeah. Um, and I think that's where we have to have enough discernment to understand where their projections are truly coming from. And I think that's why Lilith is coming out, right? Because we're not meant to be subservient and to just passively go through this life and not recognizing our own power, right? We're meant to be free. So, yes, same. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Brooke. Mm-hmm. Yes. Right. No, it is. It's all perception. The whole label thing, and that's ego. That right there. Because listen, only the human ego is the one that wants to put everything in a neat little box and smack a label on it to make it real. It just love is boundless, and I think we most of us have understood that and seen it, and love is a miracle. And I think it's just, man, y'all got me all up in my feels right now. But it's true. And I think that's where the discernment comes in because, you know, when it comes to what we feel as injustice, right? And that's the thing. I think we all need to be real with the fact that there are circumstances that are not done in love, right? But that doesn't mean that we can't still show love. And I, for one, choose to cultivate, to support, to spread as much love and understanding as possible. But that also does mean that if I have to protect myself from things that are not in alignment with love, which we know it is possible. We can't forget that. That's being realistic, right? That I will do what is necessary to keep that elevation of love in this world. That's where I'll stay with that. And that, yes, absolutely, Lynette. Um, and I think that's where a lot of people get caught up because um, so many people want it to be it so they can say search is done, but um, they're not realizing that it's truly not compatible and they're trying to force something that, you know, obviously has its purpose, but, you know, um, ends up becoming more of a detriment after a certain period. After you get to the point of if it becomes toxic, if it becomes unhealthy, there's no forward movement. It's reverting back to old ways. If it's controlling, if it's manipulative, if it's, like, I think so many people get stuck on I mean, oh, but I love them. But yes, I get that. The love doesn't stop. And I have a hard time with this because so many people think that it does or doesn't. And like, listen, if I told y'all the shit that my first love did to me, I mean, it was bad. It was. And I still answered calls years down the line to help him through tough times. I showed up at his funeral. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if I can't have you in my life for my own well-being, but I still honor and respect you for the part that you played. I honor and respect the friendship that we had for all those years. I know you're a good person, but you're still making the same dumb decisions we did as kids, and you haven't quite outgrown the toxic behaviors, right? So, um, but it's not my choice to live his life. And if that, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to be angry. I used to be angry. But yeah, so anyway, I mean, it is. There are things that people will do and say to manipulate one's ability to love, to forgive in order to benefit them. But I think one of the things that we have to remember is there is nothing that is worth stealing my joy or my freedom to fully experience my life except for me. So, do what you got to do to uplift yourself. Do what you got to do to love on yourself. Do whatever you have to do to challenge the outdated belief systems, come up with new ones, and forgive all the BS because it ain't worth it. It is not worth it. And once you change those beliefs, once you change those thought patterns, and you raise that frequency, you'll notice all the beautiful stuff start flowing back into your life. Yeah, do what is helpful. Yeah, that's it. So, anyway, I think I'm going to kind of leave it there. Oh, Kara, sending you so much love, girl. Yeah. And we love you too, Kara. Mm. Oh, thank you. But yeah, guys, so that's what I feel like I'm gonna leave it there because, this conversation can go on and on, but we'll save it for another night. Um, but I thank you all so much for being here and having your input and allowing us to discuss these things. Thank you to all the new people for showing up tonight. So glad to have you here. And if y'all would like to support the channel, there is the PayPal link right there that Brooke just posted. Thank you, honey. And if you need a private session or would like to contact me, if you have any ideas about topics you want to discuss, please email me at whispersofgrace1016@gmail.com. Opened up a new Etsy page, guys. So the link is down below in the description box. I'm making all kinds of crafts and paintings and all the good stuff. We'll have more stuff coming out soon. So yeah, make sure to keep an eye out for that. And yeah, guys, but I love you. Thank you so much for everything that y'all are and everything that y'all encompass. Thank you for keeping this light strong in this world. Thank you for keeping that love strong. Thank you for keeping that heart open. Thank you for seeing with your eye, okay, all the love and the miracles around us. And thank you for being the frontline workers on this badass spiritual journey, okay? I love you, Brooke. I love you, tribe. Mwah. I will see y'all soon. I hope y'all have a wonderful night. Bye.